One of the most powerful features about the Stomp XL is also one of the most confusing, which is of course the looper. And in this video, I'm going to help you make sense of the looper, and I'm going to help you get up and running in no time. But before we get to it, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet,
Why?
please take a second and click on that subscribe button down there. Support the pedal guy. There's a lot of great free information here for you, and I promise you that there definitely will be something here for you. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the demo. Now here's a quick tip as well. Make sure you download and install the latest firmware for the Hx Stomp XL to ensure that you get the latest and greatest that Line 6 has to offer. I would also suggest that you use the editor and follow along with me on this tutorial. It's going to make your experience with the looper that much better the first time out. Now let's get to the demo. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to switch from the preset foot switch mode to the stomp foot switch mode, and we do that by pressing on the mode switch. Looking at the stomp foot switch mode here, you can see that we've got an empty slot here on the end, and this is where we're going to pop in a looper. But to do this, I'm going to switch to the Hx edit. Okay, we're looking at the Hx edit here, and I've got the Sultans of Swing preset selected. Going down the signal chain, you can see that there are no loopers here. There's two empty slots here at the end, so I'm going to go ahead and use this signal block here, and I'm going to assign a looper to it. So we're going to go to the drop-down menu here, and I'm going to select looper. And now I've got one of three choices. I've got 6-switch looper, 1-switch looper, and shuffling looper. For the sake of simplicity, since this is our first time out, let's go ahead and select 1-switch looper. And you can see the parameters here, playback, overdub, low cut, and high cut are all listed. But if you look at the Stomp XL screen, you can see that the looper actually isn't there on the 6th foot switch here, or foot switch B, as it's listed. And that's because we haven't assigned the looper to that foot switch yet. That's one of the confusing things about this process, is that we have to do that manually. You just go to the bypass controller assign tab. So I'm going to go bypass, and I'm going to assign this to foot switch 6. And you can now see that latching, auto color, and the 1-switch looper are now activated. And if I look on the screen here of the XL, you can see in that lower right corner that the 1-switch looper is now activated. And it's a very simple looper. The 1-switch looper is quite easy to use. Press it once to start recording. The LED ring turns red. Press it again to start playing what you've looped. Press it again and it'll turn orange, and that means you're overdubbing. Press it again and it goes back to green, so it's playing everything back. Double tap it and it'll stop, and you can see that the LED ring is now a bright gray, but if I press and hold, that will go ahead and erase the loop altogether. So that's essentially how you assign the looper to one of the foot switches on the Stomp XL. But that's just half the story. The other part of the story is how to assign the individual parameters of the looper to foot switches on the Stomp XL to make your looping experience that much more dynamic. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do two things here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reassign the looper to foot switch 5, and then I'm going to assign the low cut filter of the looper to foot switch 6. And what this is going to enable me to do is to use the looper as I already showed you, but then I'm going to be able to apply a low cut filter to what's playing back through the looper. And that way it kind of carves out a little bit more of a dynamic niche for me to solo and play chords over. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to unassign the volume pedal from foot switch 5 because we really don't need it. So I'm going to go to bypass controller assign. I'm going to go to the volume and I'm going to go to none. So I'm going to unassign it, no problem, we're all good. I'm also going to select the 1-switch looper here, and I'm going to reassign that to foot switch 5. And when I do, you can see that on the screen here of the XL, it's now jumped over to foot switch 5. But what we also want to do is go back to the looper, and we want to assign the low cut filter to foot switch 6. Now once that's done, you can see that it is here on the XL screen. You can see I can turn it off and on, but it's also gray. It's the same color as the looper. It's really boring. And it's also very hard to tell the difference between the two. So what we want to do is go back to that bypass controller assign tab again, select the low cut, and what we're going to do is go over here and select auto color and change it to violet. So you can now see that that's updated on the screen, and so when I turn the low cut filter on, it's a nice bright violet color. I can also set my minimum low cut filter and maximum low cut filter settings. And I can also change it from latching to something else. I'm going to keep it right where it is on latching because I want it to turn on and then I want it to turn off. That makes it pretty easy to work with. But at this point now, I can now record my loops with the looper and I can assign the low cut filter. So what does that actually sound like? Let's find out. So that was just a really brief overview of how to use the looper. We've only scratched the surface, and of course there are 3 loopers to choose from. So we just did the 1 switch, but there's also the 6 switch and the shuffle, and I definitely want to cover those in future video tutorials. So if you like this video, please click on that subscribe button down there, click on the like button, let me know that you like the video, use the comments section, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any further questions, be sure to visit us at thepedalguy.com. But in the meantime, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly videos and tutorials. Thanks for stopping by here at thepedalguy.com, where I love pedals and so do you.